All right, here we go. So good morning, everyone. This morning we're going to play with kind of inner outer thighs. So as you find yourself laying on the floor, have a block near you because we're going to use that a couple times before we get settled or before we get moving off of the floor. And with that, go ahead and just lay on the floor. Just maybe your legs are bent, maybe they're straight. Just get a sense of how you feel this morning and where your head's at, right? Where your body's at. Just start to take a nice deep breath. Either feel your feet on the floor or maybe your heels, the backs of your heels are on the floor. And feel your hips, your shoulders, the back of your head. And just feel your breath here. Feel everything that is happening within your body, but also kind of in your immediate surroundings, what the temperature of the air is, whether you hear other noises other than my voice. Can you feel your heartbeat? Can you let go for just a moment? Let go of the external world, of the things you have to do later or what happened yesterday. Just let all of that go and come into this present moment. Start to let your jaw soften. And let the belly soften. These places where we hold tension. One more very focused breath here. And then let the eyes open, maybe take the arms overhead. If the knees are bent, go ahead and straighten the legs for a moment. And just stretch, stretch, stretch. Just really reach one limb away from the other limb. That's it. Just stretch. And then release it. Bring your knees to your chest. Wrap your arms around your knees. Stretch that back body. Keep your right knee to chest. Stretch the left leg nice and long. Let it maybe hover an inch or two off your floor. Just starting some easy warm up as always. And then switch. Left knee in, right leg long, and switch again. Good, switch. Start to use your breath. Start to tone that belly. Good, and switch. And switch. One more, both sides. Reach. And reach again. And then both knees to chest. Take your hands underneath your sacrum and take the legs to the ceiling. Tone that belly in. Find your strength. If your hamstrings are really tight, either move the legs away a little bit or bend the knees a little bit and work with the body that way. Press your shoulders down to the floor, squeeze your belly, let just one leg head toward the floor. And feel yourself starting to work here a little bit more. Notice if you start to overarch in your lower back. Keep that back pressed toward the floor. Soften the shoulders to the floor. If you don't need the hands under sacrum, you can just let them rest at the side of your body. Good. Take the one leg up. Let the other leg come down, hovering a few inches off the floor. Squeeze your lower belly in. Big deep breath. Good. Take that leg up. Release. The other leg down. I know I didn't say which leg. I'm on the right leg. Left leg is up. Whichever one you're on is fine. Breathe, squeeze your belly. Inhale up, exhale, other leg. And breathe. Oh, goodness gracious. Thank you. Good, and everybody bring your knees to your chest. My husband reminded me I did not mute everybody.
Uh-oh.
The joys of electronics. There we go. Good, bring the knees to chest and rock side to side. And then grab your block and take your block between your ankles. Now the block between the ankles makes it a little bit more wobbly, right? Because we're having to hold on to the block and we don't have a full surface. So just see if you can press your big toe sides of your feet into your block, your ankles into your block. Take the hands back underneath your sacrum, squeeze your belly and just let the legs come away from straight up a little bit. They're just coming down toward the floor a little bit. Find your breath here. Squeeze your block. Take the arms up to the ceiling optionally. So if you need them under sacrum, stay there because I'd rather you take good care of your low back. Otherwise, draw the shoulders down and take the arms back just enough to mimic the legs roughly, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. The legs are moving away. The arms are moving away. Fire up the arms as if you were holding a beach ball. Squeeze your belly so you do not overarch in your back. And breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring everything up. Grab your block. Go it again. This time the block is in your hands. And squeeze your block. The legs move away from you. Once again, hands under sacrum, perfectly normal. Or if you want to play with the block, keep everything a little bit tighter to center. Squeeze, everybody. Inhale, bring it center. Grab that block with your ankles. Bring the arms, the legs closer to the floor. Be mindful, it's very early in class, so don't overdo it. 5, 4, 3, 2, feel that belly work. And one more, switch. Block in hands. Still pretending you're squeezing a block with the legs. This time, squeeze the block between your hands. Work in this lovely core. And release everything back to center. Feet to the floor. Take your feet wide and windshield wiper your hips. I know, right? Already this morning. What's the matter with me? Good, and then grab your block again, take it second width between your thighs, so midway between your knees and your hips. Take the legs to 90 degrees, squeeze your belly, and then squeeze your block. Big deep breath. Find that little 90 degrees and then just slightly move the knees away from your hip line, right? So that the belly is really engaged. And when you do that, if you feel your low back starting to arch away from the floor, press down more. Just feel that big, big engagement. Give that block a good squeeze. What are we working here, everybody, besides core? Those inner thighs, right? Whew, good, find that. Make your belly work, make your hips work. Take the arms up again, soften the shoulders to the floor. And then as the heels head toward the floor, the thumbs head to the floor. So I'm bending my elbows and then I'm gonna squeeze them in, see if I can touch my knees. And then heels toward floor, thumbs to floor, bring the knees in. Good, reaching out and reaching in. Got it? Little odd little crunch here, right? As we work now inner thighs and core. Breathe if this is super easy for you. And I know for some of you, this is, I just want you to move the heels a little further away, the thumbs a little further away. It's gonna make you work harder. There you go. Don't forget to breathe. We've got 2 more right here. Squeeze them in, Push them out. Good, squeeze them in, last one. Push it out and bring everything back to center. Take that block out, set it aside, maybe do some knee circles here. And then take both legs back up to the ceiling. Take hands under your sacrum, open those legs nice and wide. Turn a little sideways since I'm hitting the wall. And just breathe, right? Support those legs. You can take the hands to the outside thighs and support the descent of the legs. If you are already pretty open here, you can take the hands to the inside thighs and give them a little bit extra stretch. But again, your belly should be nice and toned. Your upper body is relaxed. And take the legs up. Good. Now we're going to do 5 more of them. I'm just moving away from the wall a little bit. What I want you to do is take legs out, hands to the inside thighs, and resist as you bring them in. Good. Take them out. Squeeze, resist with your hands. Yeah, good. 3 more. Reach out. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze them in. 2 more. Squeeze them in. And last one, reach out. And squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Keep your hands on those inside thighs, inside knees. Push those knees into your hands into the knees. Really resist the inner thigh work. You should feel those legs working a little bit. And then completely release. Bring your knees to your chest. Good. And then roll the knees to one side and come all the way up. Yay, inner thighs. All right. So find a good seat first of all, right? And maybe that is putting a blanket underneath your hips to raise those hips up a little bit. But otherwise, bring your right foot in, take your left leg out, but take it out in an angle. And then notice how you feel sitting here. If your knee or anything else hurts, change the angle of that leg so that it doesn't hurt. And then see if you can press down through both sit bones, right? So you're somewhat even on those hips. Inhale, reach up. I want you to take your right hand down and stretch over to the right. Now, what are we doing here? Ground your left leg. Feel that little bit of an opening. Breathe, reach over your right knee, come center, hold both hands to the floor. And as you take both hands to the floor, draw the fingertips back, lengthen the chest forward, take some of that rounding out of your lower back, and then dig into your left heel and try to pull the left heel back isometrically. So you've just engaged deep into the hip socket here. Yep, nice deep breath, everybody. Maybe you come a little bit further down, maybe not. Don't push it. Again, early in class, we're still doing warm up. Good, and then walk yourself up, listen up. Inhale, reach the arms up. This time, take the left hand down and reach over to the right, or reach with the right arm over to the left. Good, breathe, everybody. And then reach over your left leg. Turn your chest toward the left leg. Both hands come down again. Soften the shoulders down. Isometrically drag the fingers back toward you to open the shoulders, open the chest. Big deep breath. Ooh, really stretching through this whole left leg. Good, and then take the torso up, take your body center, slide that leg back into the middle, release your right leg and shake it all out. Good, and then let's go to the other side, bring your left leg in, slide your right leg out to the side. And notice again, is this side easier? Is it harder? Does it feel weird? Does it feel normal? Right, what's happening in your body at the moment? Inhale, reach both arms up. Take your left hand down, stretch away from your right leg. Roll the left shoulder back and down. Keep that left hand on the floor for support, but then press down through your right hip. Yeah, ground that right leg, just stretch it out. It's interesting for me to not overly project my voice. So I'm really experiencing some control issues here. I just want to yell. So breathe. I hope everybody's hearing me just fine. And then take that stretch over your knee and reach it forward. Let your right hand come to the floor. Let your left hand come to the floor. Roll your shoulders back. And then isometrically try to drag your fingers back toward you. And you'll notice, right, that just opens up that whole chest space. And then dig your right heel into the floor and try to pull it back isometrically. Ooh, yeah. And notice that, right? Really, basically just kind of taking the muscle and drawing it deep into the bone. There is plenty of research that is telling us that as we activate the muscles, we strengthen the bone. One of the many ways that yoga can help with all kinds of stuff. Oh, that feels so good. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Good, and then walk your hands. I can't remember how we went there. Actually, inhale, reach up. Exhale, right hand down, left arm over. That's how we did it. Now press down through the left side, right? The left hip, tone the belly in just a little bit. Be very mindful here. Don't overdo it if it's too much. And then look at that right leg. Reach over the right leg and stretch those hands on either side. Roll the shoulders back. Isometrically pull the fingers back. The foot is flexed. The leg is grounded. Maybe soften the elbows down just a little bit. And breathe. Good. And then walk your hands center and come on up. Oh, and release that leg. Shake them both out. Good. One more here. You're going to need your block. We're going to start in a simple Badakanasana, soles of the feet together, butterfly. And again, if your knees are really high up here, please grab your blanket, grab a pillow, sit on something, even your other block, to bring those hips up a little bit more to ease those hips. So what we do from here is, again, always optional. And I just want you to feel for a moment this simple inner thigh stretch. For some, this is really easy. For some, your knees are up. I would either support them with blocks or with something. And just feel that. Not a big deal for us little open hip people, right? This is like I could sit here all day, no problem. I love it. Shoulders are nice and wide. The spine is tall. The belly is toned in. And we breathe. And then press, and you can even take your fingers behind, by the way, especially if your spine rounds a little bit. Take the fingertips behind and push into your feet, like push into your feet. And then let that go. Good, and then push again. Squeeze in and let go. Good, last one here. Squeeze and let go. And then take your knees and just bring them back to the center. Pause for a moment. Good. Option number 2, you're going to take your block at the narrowest level. You're going to put that between your feet and you're going to open up those hips again. Open up those legs again. Oh yeah, and notice that, right? So changes things just a little bit. If you notice that you are rounding, hands just come behind. I'm not worried about you leaning back a little bit, right? I'd rather have you with a nice, strong, lengthy spine. And then notice this difference, right? This change in the direction of the hips. I want you to squeeze the block. You won't squeeze as hard, and then release. And then squeeze again and release. One more right here. Squeeze in. Woo, and release. Good. Bring the knees to center. And feel those inner thighs stretching. Right? Oh, yeah. All right. So last one here. You're going to stay with the block narrow. You're going to go second width. You're gonna go no block. So once again, second width, feet are, and if you notice, I pick my hips up each time and I roll those sit bones back so that my lower back doesn't round. You might want to try that. It's kind of interesting. Press your feet into the blocks. Lift up your chest. You can hold onto your ankles. You can have your fingers behind you. Just breathe, everybody. Maybe push the feet into the blocks a little bit. Yep, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Bring those knees together. Walk the feet out a little bit. Take that block second level or second width between your thighs. Just lean back and squeeze the block. If that hurts, move the block, right? Because sometimes we can get on a sore muscle or we can get on one of the tendon attachments. So if it hurts, just move the block a little bit. Yeah, good. Now keep that block between your thighs. Lift your feet off the floor. One fingertips are behind you, lifting your chest. 2, the hands come up. We're moving right into boat pose. Yet another core pose. So early in class. Lucky, lucky, lucky. Breathe, everybody. Whoo, squeeze the block, right? Oh yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Woo, good. Set that block aside. Release those poor legs. Have both of your blocks near the front of your mat, just in case we need them. And come to table pose, everybody. Shake it all out. Shake out your hips. Shake out your legs. Maybe a few round circles. So instead of your traditional cat-cow, go in a nice big circle. That's it. And circle the other way. And come to center, flip your toes under, lift your knees off the floor. Let's come to our first downward facing dog. Bend one knee and then the other, stretch it out. Good, and then take your feet wide on your mat. So my pinky toes are to the edges of my mat. My knees are gonna bend nice and deep, right? The sit bones are gonna reach back. Look at your knees and make sure that they are parallel to each other. They're not rolling in, they're not rolling out. And then reach with the arms, stretch one side of your body, stretch the other side of your body. Keep that big, deep bend in your knees and walk your hands all the way back to your feet. So now you're in a wider leg squat, hands to knees, and come on up. Good, roll it out. Grab one of your blocks. So the interesting thing about the legs for me is that so often we do yoga and we don't really think about, we may use the legs, but we don't think about how active these legs are all through our poses. So we start here in just a simple mountain pose and we squeeze in through the block and we feel how much else works besides just the muscles required to squeeze the blocks. And if you push that block forward, right, just like you're popping it out through the front, you can see what happens. You start to flatten the low back and push the hips forward and maybe dump into your back. Instead, you want to kind of push back a little bit to widen the sit bones, widen the sacrum. And then waddle your way to the back end of your mat. You can take the block out and go back there too, and then put it back in. And find mountain pose. Roll the shoulders back, tone the belly, all those things you already know. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale all the way down. Soften the backs of the knees. Bend the knees as much as you need to. Feel the block between your legs. Feel the sit bones pulling or drawing out to the back of the room. And then walk your hands on purpose all the way to downward facing dog. So we still have this block. We're really focused on the legs here. We're noticing. We're breathing. Take that same pose and now bring it to plank. Squeezing your block. Pressing out. Remember, knees down is an option, even with the block there. Breathe. Tone your belly. Lengthen your tailbone. Lengthen your chest. Draw the shoulders away from the floor and imagine that you could push yourself off the floor. Lower your knees to the floor, everybody. Little baby push up or chaturanga, take it down. Inhale to a low cobra. I know the block feels funky here, so hang in. And then push back up, flip your toes under, push to plank. And then to down dog. And then walk your hands all the way back to your feet. Bend your knees, hands to knees. Come on up. Roll your shoulders. Good. Now you got the idea. We're going to do that again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale all the way down. Maybe inhale halfway up. Exhale it down. Walk your hands all the way out to downward facing dog. Right? Sorry, cease. Breathe. Feel this. Now, fire up the arms. Plant the hands. Let the tap roots move from your palms of your hands all the way down to the earth. Breathe. From here, plank pose. From here, knees down, chaturanga. Cobra. Down dog. Ooh. Walk the hands back. Bend the knees, hands to knees, lift your chest, come up. Shake it out. Notice how active the legs are with this sweet little block in place. More, inhale. Take a break if you need it, exhale. Inhale, lift up. Exhale it down. Walk the hands out. What happens when we walk the hands out? Maybe you pause, right? We're doing weight-bearing exercise. Downward facing dog, plant the hands. Imagine you're squeezing a beach ball with those inner elbows. Plank pose. Your choice here, knees up or knees down, chaturanga. Release to cobra. Don't go so high if it's too high for your lower back. Exhale, plank to down dog. Woo. Walk the hands back on purpose, all the way back. Good, listen up, bend your knees. Take your hands to your knees. Lift the chest a little bit. Lengthen your back a lot. Lift your chest some more. Lengthen and lift, find chair pose. Take the arms out. What are we doing, right? We're squeezing that little block and we're finding the legs. We're reaching the tailbone really long in the back so there's no strain, no pain there at all. We're just finding that pose. Take the arms out. Breathe, roll the shoulders, lean forward halfway. Keep the legs bent and reach all the way up. And exhale, let it go. Good, roll it out. Let's take that block out. Starting to notice those inner thighs just a little bit, right? So take the legs wide, turn the toes out just enough so that when you bend your knees and your feet track in the same direction. And then just bend a little bit. Maybe rock a little bit side to side. If you take classes with me, you know I love squats. I love every kind of squat. Why? Because it's building bone, right? It's working these muscles. We're finding our way. And then just start to lean forward a little. Maybe you rock a little bit more. Now, how wide your legs go is up to you. Don't overdo it. You know who you are. And then come to center. Let the chest drop toward the floor. Take your hands to the floor. The knees are bent for now, and I want you to sit back in an imaginary chair. So much so that the top ends of your feet could lift up. Be real careful here, but so that you're heavy, heavy, heavy on your heels. Roll the shoulders wide. Now, I want you to press your knees out to the side, tone your belly. So you're isometrically drawing those knees away from the center. Now take the heels and isometrically try to pull them in, as if you would turn your foot all the way, right? So you're squeezing in and you're squeezing out all at the same time. Find your breath here. Take one hand to one knee, one hand to the other knee. Start to lift your chest. As you do, tailbone lengthens. Woo, chest lifts. Arms reach up. Take the thumb and index fingers together, elbows toward waist. Goddess pose. The knees are pressing out, the heels are pressing in. Woo, breathe. 5. Can you go lower? 4. Can you go lower? Don't overdo it. Right? This isn't like challenge week. We don't have to do anything I say. Breathe and stand all the way up. Exhale, let it go. Walk those feet in toward each other and just feel the legs again. Imagine that you're squeezing in through those inner thighs. Inhale, reach up. Exhale all the way down. Inhale, halfway up. Wiggle your hips, right? Just kind of wiggle them side to side and feel the connections from one to the other. Soften both knees, step back, downward facing dog. Come back to plank. Come down to your knees and pause for a moment here. Just maybe a little child's pose, maybe hero pose. Maybe you're sitting back on your heels and stretching out your toes as we roll it out. Not so bad, right? Not so bad. Good, everybody breathe. And then come up to your hands and your knees. So again, I know some of you with some knee challenges, maybe you take your blanket and you put it underneath your knees for cushion. Those of you with some of wrist challenges, come on down either to elbows or ideally, if you have a couple of blocks, just angle the blocks to mimic your forearms and take hands and arms to your blocks instead, okay? So lots of options there. Otherwise, you're on hands and knees. You feel that, tone your belly, take your right leg back. Good. Bring your knee to your elbow. Outside, 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 and press it back. So you're circling that knee out and bringing it back. And 3, back, 4, and back. 5, back, hold, and breathe. Take that same knee to opposite elbow inside. Squeeze it in, push it out. Squeeze it in, and out. 3, out. 4, if you're on elbows, you're just not going as deep, right? And 5, out. We got one more here. Bend the knee. Take it to 90 degrees. Drop that knee down toward your other knee and then straight out to the side. 1 and 2. Whoo, got warm in here. And 3, squeeze it up. And 4. Good. And 5. Whoo, and let it go. If you're on hands, wrists, you can come on up, shake them out. Roll it out. Gonna turn around so I have room. And come on back. Left leg out. Lift it up. Bring the knee to the outside elbow. And back. We're doing 5 of each. We're taking it pretty easy today. And 3. And 4. Imagine sliding that leg on a table. 5. Whew. And bring it in and across. 1 and 2. Good, and 3. You're like, what's this got to do with yoga? 4, and 5. Whew. And then bend that knee, take it out to the side, little fire hydrant here, bring it down. And 1, down, and 2. Yep, down, 3, and 4, 5, maybe pause, and down. Oh, good. Space those knees, hips width apart. Come back onto your hands, or you can stay to elbows for down dog. As an option there, it would be dolphin, right? But otherwise, downward facing dog. Breathe. Walk those hands back. Pause in your forward fold. Roll your shoulders back. Bend your knees. Take your hands to your knees. And come on up. And shake it out, everybody. Woo, shake out the arms. Good. And then find mountain pose again. This time, no block. I want you to squeeze those legs toward each other. Take your hands to your hips. And in fact, some of you might just want to be near a wall space or a chair or something. We're going to work with this these hips just a little bit more. And it's going to require a little bit of balance, but we're not going to stick a balance pose for now. So from mountain pose, everything fires up, right? Keep your hands at your hips for now and just take your left leg out to the side. Toes are pointing forward. You're leaning to one side. We were playing with this, I think, last Zoom class. So feel what is happening. It's not about how high you lift. Maybe you point your toes. How does that feel? It's this whole complex, right? Outer thigh work. Maybe you flex your foot. And then squeeze the leg back in as if you were squeezing through mud. And then take it back out. Hand to a wall, hand to something, right? A desk. Perfectly wonderful. Squeeze it in. We're only doing 3, one side. And out, hold. What's happening to the standing leg? Which leg's getting more work here? Belly's toned. And let it go. Oh, and roll it out, right? So both legs working, both legs having to do the work of this focused balance pose. So again, start in mountain pose, hands are to your hips, lean into your left leg, find that first, right? That big squeeze in, and take the right leg out. Find your focus, toes point forward, don't point them up toward the ceiling. Maybe point your toes down toward the floor. Maybe flex, squeeze your belly. And then bring it in, squeeze it in as if you're squeezing through. And open. Whew. Squeeze it in. Yep. And out. Good. Last one. Squeeze it in. And out. Hold. Can you hold just for a moment? And squeeze it in. Let go. Roll it out. Good job, everybody. So the more we strengthen the muscles around the hip joint, right? The more we work, the more we feed the hip, the femur and the hip muscles, pelvic muscles to support us through the rest of our lives. All right, so we're coming back to the left leg, standing on the right leg. I just want you to tap it back as if you're on your big toe, right? Your belly tones in, your shoulders tone in. All of a sudden your glute starts to become active, and lift your leg. Find your balance again. Hand to a wall, beautiful thing. I want you to circle it out and bring it forward. Squeeze it back. Circle it forward. I may need this wall. Reach it back, squeeze that glute, feel it. Circle it out, pause, circle it out, circle it out. Bring it forward and let it go. Yeehaw. All right, Other side, and then we're done with this little bit of work here. Tone everything in, shift to your left leg, point your right toe back, squeeze in through the hip, through the waist, lift, circle, and push back. Woo. Circle, and back, and slow circle, and back, and shake it out. Good job, everybody. Come on back to the front of your mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale all the way down. Step back, right leg. Pause right here. Lower your right knee to the floor, maybe a block under your right hand. I'm going to turn the other way so you can see what I'm doing. Which leg's forward? Block under your right hand, and then let your left knee splay out to the side. Yep. And just feel that, right? 1, your hands are to the floor because that's easier. 2, your hands are to your block for support. 3, your right hand's to your block, your left hand's to your knee. And feel this inner thigh, right? And then squeeze the inner thigh in and let it go out. Easy, easy. Squeeze it in and let it go out. 1 more, squeeze it in and let it go out. And then pause, hands are to the floor. Breathe. Some of you are here, some of you that's enough. You bring the leg back into a regular lunge. The rest of you, come on down, maybe to elbows. You got it. Belly tones. Bring the knee in. Press back into your hands. Let that hand go back to the outside. Lift your right knee, step back, or just switch. And bring your right foot forward. Lower your left knee to the floor. Hands to your block, maybe they're just to the floor. And let your right leg splay out to the side a little bit. Where you go with that knee, by the way, I'm going to turn around again. Where you go with that is really going to be up to your hips. Don't force it and don't hurt your foot by leaning on the side of it. Keep it solid. Good, and then 3 times, squeeze it in and squeeze it out. Squeeze it in and squeeze it out. Good, 1 more, squeeze in, squeeze out. 1, stay here. 2, bring the knee back to neutral because that feels better. 3, maybe you come down to elbows. Another option besides elbows is halfway down, which means your elbows are on a block. And just check it out. No pain, everybody. Good, press into your hands. Bring that leg back up. Flip your toes under, lift your left knee, step back to down dog. Lots of dogs today. To plank. Now, if you're in plank and you'd rather be on elbows, come on down. Whew. Check that out. But if you're on elbows, press from your pinkies to your elbows and breathe. Lift 1 leg. Whew. Find that pose. You got this. Lift the other leg. Hold. Breathe. Lower your knees. Come into a little back bend. Shake it out. Nice deep breath, everybody. That's it. Good. And then I want you to roll on to your left side. I put my clock where I can't see it. Lay on your left side. Sorry, I'm fussing here because of all this equipment. There we go. And just pause for a moment. Have one block near you. Sorry about that. Lay on your left side. Take your block and put it between your knees. I have mine on the second width, so it's not all the way up, it's not all the way down, second width. And just place it between your knees. And then I want you to squeeze your block. So find the comfortable way and squeeze. Ah, this is interesting. And then see if you can lift your knees. And lower. And lift. And lower. Yep. Lift. Lower. 4. Lower. And 5. And lower. And then straighten your legs. Now this is tricky because, right, we're laying on our sides, so just the fact that we're having the balance here is tricky. My hand is in the front, supporting my body. Just see if you can lift your legs away from the floor a little bit. Side body, breathe, core, tone your belly in, everybody. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Try to bring your legs off the floor and release. Whew. Good, 2 more, squeeze them up. Breathe. If you come up on elbow, you get more squeeze. Woo, and release. Last one, squeeze up. Squeeze, squeeze. You're feeling those legs working and lower. Good. Just bend your knees and release for a moment. And then roll over to your other side. Block is between your knees. You're either down low or you're on your elbow. Squeeze your block. Lift your knees off the floor if you can. Try not to roll back like I almost just rolled back, right? Try to keep it more or less on the side. You're using this front hand a bit to help with your support. Squeeze your block and lower the knees. Good, 4 more. Squeeze up and down. Squeeze up and down. Squeeze it up, down. Last one, squeeze up. Maybe you hold for a moment. Maybe you let go of that top hand for just a moment and really feel how much that core has to work to keep you sideways. And lower and straighten the legs. Here we are again. Squeeze the block, lift the feet off or the legs off the floor. And breathe. Just hold, just squeeze right here, babies. And lower. 2 more. Lift up, squeeze. You got this. Breathe. Oh, and lower. Good. Last one. Lift up, squeeze, and lower. Holy moly. Bend your knees. Take the block out. Find your breath. Good. So since we're on this side, I want to stay here and then we'll flip over again. Straighten your bottom leg. So I'm on my, what the heck side am I on? I'm on my right side. So my right leg is on the floor. My leg is flexed. I'm going to take my top leg and either step it forward or step it behind, whichever way feels best for you. We're not worried about the front leg so much. We're worried about the bottom leg. So flex your bottom leg and lift that bottom leg off the floor. Good, breathe. So isolating inner thighs is a very interesting and challenging part of the body. If you are squeezing that leg up and you don't feel your inner thighs, try turning your toes down a little bit more and breathe. And then I want you to pulse it. So pulse. Just bring it up. Pulse. That's it. Oh yeah. Anybody feeling this? Breathe. Keep pulsing. I know. You got this. And then pulse and hold it high. High as it'll go for you. Keep those toes pointing straight ahead, not up to the ceiling, straight forward, and lower it down. And then take your top foot and lift it off the floor. Press your bottom leg down. Reach for your big toe, your ankle somewhere that you can grab And take that leg up to the ceiling. Woo, and breathe. That's it. Nice tone to your belly, everybody. Release that foot. Take that top hand back to the floor. Turn your toes toward the side and lower that leg down. Beautiful. Switch sides. Like, what's this got to do with yoga, right? So what is yoga, right? We have our traditional poses, of course, but we want to strengthen all our bodies. And so inner thighs is another one of those. We talked about quads and hamstrings and the imbalance. Inner outer thighs are another imbalance. So your top leg is either in front or behind you. If it feels better to be back, that's okay, because that works equally as well. And then engage your bottom leg, toes point forward, and lift up and hold. And then just find your spot, right? Find the spot where you feel that inner thigh working for you. Breathe. Some of you, especially the gals, will remember exercise classes at the gym where we squeeze the big rubber ball, right? Very effective. Keep breathing and then pulse, pulse. That's it. Breathe. Keep pulsing. Woo! That's it. Wow. I'm not even counting. I'm just going until I go, okay, that's probably enough for now, right? Good. One more. Squeeze, hold, breathe. And release it down. Good. Plant that bottom leg. Lift your top leg off the floor. Grab your ankle, your shin, your knee, your toe, and bring it up to the ceiling. Hand to big foot pose. It's true pose. Everybody breathe. Good. And then release that foot. Turn your toes to the side so you're back in that outer hip and slowly lower it down to the floor. Good. Bend both knees. Nice job, everybody. I want you to press all the way up. We are not quite done yet. Come back to your hands and your knees. I am getting some looks in the room, I have to tell you. Plant your hands, flip your toes under, find downward facing dog. I want to give a couple of options here. One, you're going to be down dog. Two, you're going to be back down on hands and knees with elbows. One person in particular I'm giving this advice to, who's working on a wrist injury. Good. So if you would rather be on your forearms, please do that. Take your right leg straight out. So I'm not worried about lifting. I'm just bringing it straight out. Be mindful here. We can come right back to the floor. Take your elbow to your knee as you squeeze forward and bring it up. Good. We're just doing 3. Squeeze it in and up. Last one here. Squeeze in and out. Good. Knee to opposite elbow. Squeeze in and back. 2 and back. Last one. Squeeze and back. Plank pose. Breathe. Bend the knee. Lift it up. Bring it down to your other knee and up, down. We just did all this. Woo! Last one. And up and down. Release. Knees to the floor. Maybe stretch back a little puppy stretch, a little child's pose. Find your breath. So what did we do, right? We did this on the floor, bringing it up into the hands, bringing it up into kind of plank, kind of downward facing dog, just takes it up a notch. All right, Let's finish this other side so you can not think about it anymore. Remember elbows, right? We would do the same thing, or hands and knees, same thing, or downward facing dog. Big deep breath. Left leg lifts. Belly squeeze, everybody. Elbow to outside knee or knee to outside elbow. 1, 2. Shoulder strength. 3. Out. Elbow to knee, knee to elbow. 1 and 2. Are you with me? 3 and reach. Try to find a little more plankish. Bend the knee. Bring it down to your other knee and out to the side. 1, 2, oh, and 3, oh, and let that go, and lower down. Oh, and breathe, shake it out. That side was harder for me, so good information, right? Left side a little bit less strong than the other side. All right, so we are coming down to our backs. Have a block with you. We ain't done, folks. Breathe. I want you to start by just coming down onto your back. Roll your shoulders, maybe take the arms into cactus pose. And just rest for a moment, just relax for a moment. Find your breath. Maybe curl and uncurl your wrists. Good, just feel that, right? Just feel, okay, that's not so bad. Good, and then release your hands back down to your sides. I want you to take your toes out at a slight angle. So you'll know probably best, it's not gonna be way out to the sides, it's not gonna be forward, just a little bit out at an angle. We're gonna work on bridge pose, but with angled feet. And what angled feet do is engage the hips in a whole different way, inner outer thighs in a whole different way. So draw the shoulders down. You can even press the upper arms into the floor and have your fingers pointed up toward the ceiling. Try to spread out the ball mounds on both feet. Press into the ball mounds to lift up. And then imagine that you're trying to squeeze a ball between the heels. Remember what we did earlier, where the heels are isometrically pulling in, the knees are isometrically pulling out. And notice what you feel here. Glutes, obviously, right? Hips, maybe some inner and outer thigh work as we try to squeeze the legs in and press them out at the same time. So feel that. Maybe even isometrically squeeze them in and then isometrically try to pull them both away. And feel the difference here as you pull in and push out isometrically, where hardly anything is moving. Maybe you just feel your feet shifting a little bit side to side, right? Maybe you lift your feet off the floor except for your heels and press into your heels to press up even more as you isometrically squeeze in and squeeze out. Woo! If you want just a little extra because there's not enough sensation already, pull the heels back and really fire up the hamstrings on top of the glutes, on top of the hips, on top of the thighs. Woo! And then lower your feet. Release that heel press. Slowly come down to the floor and release your legs. Bring your knees to your chest. Sometimes too, regular bridge pose will irritate the knees, and that turnout of the feet can make all the difference in just that realignment of the muscles. Good, let's do 2 more there. Take the feet out, draw the shoulders back, tone the belly, press into your feet. Shoulders are down. Think of this as part back bend, right? Part hip work, part everything work, right? Make sure there's space behind your neck. Make sure your chin isn't overly tucked. It's not lifting up necessarily, but it's not tucked down to your chest. Big deep breath. Now, lift the feet other than the heels, of course. Squeeze up to your level, lengthen through your tailbone. Maybe you find some freedom here. Maybe press into the upper arms more. Breathe. Remember that isometric work of pressing out and in at the same time. That's it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower. Release the back. Don't bring the knees in if you can help it. We're going to do one more. This time I want you to go back to regular bridge pose. Your feet are parallel to each other. They're straight forward. I just want you to feel the difference, if any. If not, don't worry about it. Draw the shoulders down, elbows down, lift your hips. And breathe. Now squeeze as if you were squeezing a block. Just a little, don't over squeeze. If you over squeeze the glutes, you can pinch the low back. So if you feel that, notice. Woo. Everybody breathe. Press through the legs, pull the heels back, reach the shins forward. So again, isometric work. And breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Holy moly. Instead of bringing your knees in, I want you to straighten the legs. Just straighten them for a moment, let them relax. Maybe take the arms overhead. We got one more here, ladies and gents. I hope you're still with me. I hope you haven't all dropped out. All right, grab your block, bend your knees. You're gonna take your block at the widest setting, or take the short edge of your block to the inside of your left knee. So you're bending your left knee. Your right hand's holding on to the other short end of your block so that your shoulder's pretty level, your leg's pretty level. Your left leg is at 90 degrees. Straighten your right leg. And for now, just tone your belly and push your knee into your block and your block into your knee. Okay, low belly work and inner thigh work. Upper body is nice and relaxed. Press in, good isometric work here. If you want more, lift your right foot off the floor. Oh, and notice what just happened to your belly. I just learned this one last week. There's a yoga teacher out there called, what's his name? Rocky. I'll come up with it. But he did this as an isometric core work, and I just loved it. He kept his foot on the floor, but lifting it changed everything. Take your other hand, left hand, behind your head. 1, stay here, keep pushing. 2, lift your head, shoulders off the floor. Don't pull on your neck, but squeeze everything into the middle isometrically, as if you could squeeze your inner thighs together, both legs. Press through your belly, find your breath, and release. It's a beautiful thing. All right, last one, last side, I promise. Inside, right leg, right knee. Your hand is pressing into the block, which is pressing into your knee. There's lots of options here. First one, just straighten your left leg. Push the block into your knee into your block. Feel your core work. So that's really, right, stage 1 right here. And it's a great little way to activate and strengthen the low belly, that transverse abdominis. So either stay here or lift your left leg off the floor. Woo! Everybody breathe. Hang in there. Try not to overly tense your neck, your shoulders, right? We do have a tendency to do that. So find that. Either stay here, come out because you're done, or right hand behind your head. Lift up into a crunch, and then imagine squeezing your left inner thigh to the middle and your right inner thigh to the middle as you work your belly. All of this happening as if you could cross your legs because you're squeezing so much into the middle. Yep, that's it. Come on, 3, 2, 1, and let go. Oh, set your block aside. Bend your knees, bring your knees to your chest, and turn your head side to side. That's it. And then feet to the floor, shift, lift, and shift your hips to the left. Bring your knees toward your chest, lower your knees to the right. Let's come into a nice, easy twist, everybody. Nice, easy twist. Maybe your left arm moves in a way that you find a stretch through your upper chest, upper shoulders. Deep breath. Relax your jaw. Relax your belly. Where are you holding the tension right now? And then bring the knees to center. Shift your hips all the way to the right edge of your mat. Bring the knees to your chest and lower the knees to the left. And again, your right arm is comfortable. Maybe it's moved in a way that allows a nice stretch of your upper chest. Back of the neck is long. Head, neck, comfortable. Your jaw soft, your belly soft. And we just start to settle in a little bit. We start to let go of the activity, the movement. We just tap back into the breath. When all else fails, we come back to the breath. And then bring the knees back to center. Optional for part or all of your Shavasana. If you have your blocks handy, go into a very soft Supine Badakanasana and then take the blocks and purposefully support your legs. So even if you can go deeper, have the blocks situated in a way, they can be way up at the upper thighs, which actually upper outer thighs feels really sweet. It feels really supportive. They can be out by your knees, but make sure your legs are heavy on your blocks so that the legs don't have to do any work anymore, at least till the end of class. And then allow your body to really settle down into the floor. If you're in a place or where you want a little bit of warmth, if you want a sweater or socks back on, go ahead and do that. But then allow yourself to go heavy, heavy, heavy into the floor. Find your breath. Allow all unnecessary tension to leave your body. Feel the soft flow of breath. Notice as your mind wanders, just see if you can bring it back to your breath or to your body. And go softer still. And knowing that you can stay in Shavasana for as long as you would like. When and if you're ready, start to wiggle your toes, your fingers. Draw your knees toward your chest. Rocking side to side until you roll to one side, curling over in fetal pose. And then slowly, very slowly, pressing all the way back up.